Greetings, greetings. Send you all some warm, positive vibration. So, this is Body-Culinary, and I wanted to come on and just share with you a little bit of what I eat because I get this question quite often. I am a lover of whole, fresh, living foods, like whole living foods that you can still recognize as foods. And I really love to eat. I don't want to look like it because I do have a palate and also a family history of Southern, Afro-American, and Afro-Caribbean parentage and heritage. And both sides of the family can really burn and love to cook. And I'm also very creative. So I'm classically trained as a chef. I'm also a personal trainer. I love to move, but I'm not interested in dieting. And I want to be able to eat and feel satisfied. Satiation is really, really important. And so, by the way, make sure that you're invited to go over to body-culinary.com and make sure you get on the mailing list so you can find out when we're having upcoming workshops. So all that to be said, this is what I just prepared. It took me less than 10 minutes. No stoves, none of that, and just really a few ingredients. A lot of it I picked right from the garden. So it's miso. I don't know if any of you are familiar with Japanese cuisine. It's inspired because of all the sea vegetables in here, but this is a miso. And I just picked the cherry tomatoes from the garden, the purple basil from the garden, the lemon basil from the garden, the celery from the garden. And actually the plantain just came from my tree right out of my yard. So, I mean, that's wonderful. I didn't have to go to the market. I also keep sea vegetables on hand, which is really, really good for your thyroid. So there are many of us today that have thyroid deficiency. Either overactive thyroid or underactive thyroid. I actually had a partial thyroidectomy many years ago. So I know I didn't want to take any medication. So I researched immediately where could I get iodine from in food. And I've also had my thyroid tested, so I don't have to have medication, which I'm very grateful for. So, and also sea vegetables are a common staple in my intake and in my consumption patterns. So that being said, I keep that on hand. That's in here. And I also use some of the plantain that I pulled right from the yard that I shared earlier. So all of these, and these are perfectly nice and ripe. So I'm not, this is not the starchy one. When they're starchy, they're too starchy for me. So that's nice and ripe. That's not the banana, that's the plantain in the same family. So I didn't even need to use a whole banana, but this has a nice combination of sweet and savory. It also has my homemade Grandma Lou live, hot sauce, which has Grandma Lou's favorite hot peppers in it. So it's got lots of live turmeric. And I mean, if you feel any kind of itching in your throat, oh my gosh, this will knock it out. It has ginger. It's very spicy, which is warming. So I like to also pay attention to how the foods are making me feel. And I also observe that for many of us, there's a nutritional connection, but also definitely a mental and emotional component to how we're eating. I would dare say a lot of time, if not most of the time today, we're eating primarily like a pacifier to soothe ourselves and make ourselves feel better, but not so much for nutrition. It's kind of like simple, but kind of complex at the same time. We're eating to soothe emotions and take the edge off of anxiety or nervousness. I don't know that most of us have experienced true hunger. I think true hunger, in a sense, true hunger would be if you go to a country where folks are deprived of overall calories. That would be real hunger. At the same time, obesity can also be looked at as starvation in reverse, right? We're eating plenty, lots of calories, right? But remember, the body, over here, we know that beauty really is health, right? If we have a lot of add-on stuff and lots of enhancement, but no health, then it can occur more as like a cover-up rather than beauty. With health, right? Everybody, when we're healthy, our body's at a natural weight. The body knows what weight to drop to balance out at, right? So whatever we have walking around is demonstrating whatever our habits are, right? So that being said, we want foods that satisfy us, fill us up, but not out, right? That not leaving a whole bunch of deposit on the waistline. We want to eat in ways that doesn't leave a deposit of waste on the waistline. So spices are in there also. Spices, bitter, salty, sweet, all of these things, I would say even have an emotional context in the body, which is why it's really important to listen to your body and to listen to your cravings and go on the journey rather than the narrative that's been painted out for us. So all that said, miso is traditionally like a Japanese broth with sea vegetables, and it usually very light and has tofu in it. So I use what was from my yard. So there is like a broth, if you will, and sea vegetables, which also have a natural salty taste. And also I've used the plantain from my yard and a lot of the spices and the turmeric that are coming right from my yard, which is really something I like to emphasize here with Afronomics and Afroflavonomics. So the spices, they're very calming. They're very warming. They soothe if you have any kind of cough or itchy kind of throat. But I find they can be very satisfying in a kind of way. Whereas without the spices, right? Not too spicy, it's going to give you an ulcer. Without the spices, and if we're only going sugar, salt, fat, we'll have a tendency to keep eating more and more and more starch, and somehow it feels like you can't even get full. This can even happen with brown rice. I observed that when I used to eat brown rice back in the day. So all of this on our different journey. I even feel really hot right now. My body usually runs very cold. So these spices are also really, really good for spiking up your metabolism. So I just wanted to come on. I'm really excited because it's colorful. I picked it right from the garden. Again, the basil, lemon basil, and the purple basil also really, really good for your digestion. And these are all of what I would consider beauty foods. I didn't have to, there's no cooking. I didn't use any kind of a stove. I'm not cooking out all the nutrition out of the vegetables, and more so than that, it's satiating. So a good test is to eat and see if like within a half an hour, 2 hours, you feel like you have to run back for more. So I don't know if many of us are experiencing that today. Quite often, even with fruit, with fresh fruit, we're eating and eating and eating. Somehow it seems like we're not satisfied. So again, in my practice is why I coach people to find the sweet spot. You're not eating too much, you're not eating too little. It's nutrient dense, it's full of living water, and you feel satisfied. When you're done eating, the food is very colorful to look at. And when you get up from eating, you can feel like, wow, I've had enough. I don't need to go back for 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 plates of food. So, it's got spice. Oh, how could I forget? I also added greens from the garden. So, sweet potato greens, lacinato kale. Ooh, this spice is kicking. Lacinato kale pulled from the garden, sweet potato greens, celery, cherry tomatoes, purple basil, lemon basil, and turmeric. All of this we pulled right from the garden. I'm sweating my bullets over here. So this is nice and hot. So this is good for you folks that think you have to, that think, greetings. I love spice. I feel like it keeps your palate pleasantly engaged. And again, this is good because I think it's very important, at least in my area of the world or in my frame of thinking. A lot of times we're filling up and it seems like we can't get full. We've got starch, we've got organic chips, we've got ice cream, we've got organic cakes and pies, even if they're raw. And they're very, very packed down with calories. And they can also have you feeling, how can I say? These foods can leave you feeling very, very heavy because they take a lot of energy to digest them. And I think also, again, the huge distinction is the living water, right? Again, we're buying all of these products for the skin, but you can keep putting all these products on the skin that you want. Primarily, the health and the vitality and the nutrition is coming from inside, right? With the nutrient-dense foods that we're eating, and also through having some kind of a movement practice where you're bringing the nutrition to the skin. You're bringing nutrition to the scalp. If you're not moving, and if most of the body is what? Water. So if your water in your body is very stagnant, right? Like if you've ever seen a stagnant body of water. If you're not encouraging your body to move, then how can all the nutrition that you're eating get to the scalp, right? It's not just because we have a tendency to think very compartmentalized, but holistic health means a whole body. So if you're not moving, more than likely, our elimination is not functioning optimally, right? As well as it could, right? And we're not having our nutrient delivery system, right? Nutrients going to the cells and waste product waste product being removed from the cells. It's a transport system. So this is a living organism. That's why I say living water all the time. And it's whole food. So the sea vegetables are whole. The plantain is whole. That came right off the tree out in the yard. The tomatoes, I just went and picked a couple of them, whatever we have left from our little tomato harvest. The basil, I just went plucked it right off. The lemon basil. So again, this is why I encourage so much on this channel. Everybody can grow something, whatever environment. If you have a big house, small house, room, if you got to start with 1 or 2 plants, even something that is very beautiful and calming to look at, to cast your eyes on green, to rest your eyes and your brain on green. And also see what you can find that you can eat, even if it's culinary herbs or sprouts, right? Everybody can grow something. So at least just start there. See if you can identify something that you can eat, that you can nurture that plant, right? And something that is very beautiful for you to look at. And don't be discouraged, or rather be encouraged, even if you feel like the plants fail. It's going to teach you. That's where, right, the activation with the light bulbs go off. When you start to nourish your relationship, your living relationship to nature, it's going to really kick off, I say, activate some innate intelligences that we were all born with, right? Your divine, onboard, innate intelligence. Every human being was born with it. It doesn't really need a middleman, right? It's something that is that's experiential, something for you to experience. And with firsthand knowledge, that's not a belief. That's something that you know, right? So when you start preparing your own food, and then another level is when you start to grow. Everybody can grow something. When you start to grow something that you have to nurture and you care for. You have to see, like, does it need more sunlight over here? Is it getting too much sunlight? Am I putting too much water? Am I putting too little water? Guess what? It's the same thing with your own body. So this is why, I know folks laugh at me, this is why I'm the trainer that's going to constantly encourage you to start a garden and to get into what I would call, we can say exercise. I like to say a vigorous, joyous movement practice, right? So it start to occur to you differently. Oh, you must have, you got disconnected. So this is, international Wi-Fi. So sometime that's going to happen. So again, today was the plantain, spicy plantain miso. Most of the ingredients are pulled right from the yard, right? So when you start your herbal garden, I was just telling one of my family members just like a little while ago, listen, you know you was raised on fresh herbs. Nothing. This is what you're tasting when you go to a really fine restaurant. It's the fresh herbs that make all the difference in taste. It makes all the difference in taste. Plus you have all that living water, and you have the medicinal and nutritive properties inside the fresh herbs. And when you pick it fresh, it doesn't compare to, what you dry. There'll be times when you harvest your herbs and you have so many herbs that you need to dry them. Or I have herbs from the cerasee that I picked earlier. So I usually hang different bunches of herbs. I'll hang them out so they can dry, so there's no irradiation. So there's all of these different things that'll start to kick in as you build, and not build, but cultivate a relationship with the energy that you're consuming, right? With the energy that you are consuming, right? It's living. You're a living body. So you want to put living foods in there. Whatever label you want to call it, who cares? The more you crowd in those fresh, living foods, your palate will change. I was a junk food junkie. Your palate will change. Your elimination will change. Your body fragrance will change. The body knows what to do. This is a divinely intelligent machine. It knows what to do. So I invite you to just slow down and just go into your own onboard divine innate intelligence and ask your acne questions. Ask your extra, adipose tissue, which is a technical term for fatty tissue. Ask it questions. Ask your energy level questions. Ask your anger questions, right? Instead of fighting, make these different things your friend, per se, because there are communications that your body temple, your hair, your scalp is having a communication with you, right? And that will help to guide you to your sweet spot, right? So today is spicy plantain miso. Most ingredients came from the yard. I didn't use a bunch of stove. It's optional if you want to use oil or not. Oil, I like to keep it to none or to a bare minimum. I prefer the whole fresh living ingredients. However, if you want to, again, you'll find your sweet spot with what irritates your skin. If you have acne, you have the option of cold pressed flax oil, hemp oil, or cold pressed olive oil. And there's a reason, a very specific reason for cold press, and you don't need a lot of it. So you can, I know many of us have a lot of tools that we're not using. So you could, I recommend, see, I'm starting to give you some stuff here, some jewels. You can take your measuring spoons and measure out your oil, right? Most of us have no concept of oil. When I was growing up, oil was gravy. Grease was gravy. So people just pour big gallons of oil all over the food. And it's, even if it's good fat, that's way, way, way too much fat. So again, if you have cellulite, we don't have to make anything good or bad. If you have a lot of cellulite or waste, that's telling us we're not metabolizing the substances that we're putting into our body. They may be low quality. There may not be a balance of water and fiber. There's a whole communication. My go-to snack. I don't know if I don't think about go-to snacks. It depends on what's seasonal. It could be watermelon, or if a piece of fruit, mango. This is my birth month is finished, right? So I wait all year round for mango and avocado season. Those are my favorite fruits, but it's whatever is in season. It's so funny. I don't know if I think about that anymore because I don't eat things out of packages. So I was a snacking queen. Barbecue chips, cheese doodles, vegan ice cream. I don't eat any of that. And I used to make so many desserts. When I tell you so many desserts, I can make 2 pies or cakes a day for my family. And that was very intentional over the years because I wanted my family used to my food. I wanted their tongue. Every other culture takes that very seriously. You know, some folks put kimchi on their babies' tongues, all around the world, women. And I grew up seeing some women, call it what you want, but I saw great grandmothers, I saw women, old women, chew food up, or mothers chew food up and put a little bit in the baby's mouth, just like birds. You know, they didn't have a whole bunch of Cuisinart food processes. So for me, I think it would be fruit, to be quite honest with you. There's no other, fresh whole food is fast food. It's easy in, quick in, you chew it up, you absorb the nutrients, and easily pass out the waste. Of course, you want to make sure you're chewing your food properly. So fast food for me is fruit, you know, or cucumbers. But it can also change depending on what is available. So I don't know. I think I would say this. It's good to start with what your favorites, identify what your favorite whole, fresh, living foods are, and start from there. Otherwise, you know, that's how you're going to find your sweet spot. Otherwise, we'll just be copying everybody. And again, you can take some things that resonate with you and try that I like. Let's say I love okra. You may not like okra. And then again, your palate can trust me, your palate can change. There's so many things. One time I thought sea vegetables were absolutely disgusting. It's a favorite food of mine. You know, even when I go to different Asian stores, Chinese, Korean, Japanese stores, or I like to go frequent different neighborhoods for the best ingredients. And folks are like, you eat this? You eat this all the time. I probably eat more sea vegetables than some of my Chinese comrades, you know, over here. So your palate can change. I'm not raised Afro people. Sea vegetables not in our flavor profile, you know. So education is also what opens my mind to different types of tastes. So I just wanted to come on and share that with you. That was quick and easy. And I think I may put together like a little video. Either I'll share it here on TikTok and Kwasa Peaceful Eating. And feel free to go over and to join Patreon, because at the end of every month, we're getting together for a soiree, pulling all of the fruits and vegetables and things that you may have paid a whole lot of money for that you're letting go rotten. We're pulling all of that stuff out to prep it together. Kind of like a slumber party, but it's like with food. So at the end of every month, we're going to be pulling all of that out, and we're going to be going together on Zoom or another platform to put on some good music, make some juice, chop up some vegetables, and have a ball. So that being said, yes, that's what I meant. So shout out, Stephanie. Send me some more positive vibrations, and I'll see you soon. Feel free to replay this. As I've said before, there's a video on this channel, how to make a really good use of this channel. I highly recommend, I don't tell grown folks what to do, that when you're watching this channel, I invite you. I know I say a lot of things. People laugh me over the years, and then they get it later. Use these videos, replay them while you're decluttering, right? Pick an underwear drawer. Because my grandma Lou, I talk about grandma Lou all the time. Every Saturday, clean the underwear drawer. Declutter. These are things I'm telling you. I don't even call them living meditations. Declutter the underwear drawer. Or put out your yoga or your movement practice mat and stretch while you're watching these videos. Or number 3, chop vegetables. So this thing could be like your homie. That you have me right there to chop vegetables to keep you company. Because this screen, we can either make really good use of YouTube and the internet education, or whatever we're putting our eyes on and whatever we're consuming is rocking our world and is really affecting our food choices. We may not even realize how triggered we are to anxiety and mindless consumption, mindless shopping, just a plethora, so much distraction. So I invite you. You have one of my biggest tools in my toolbox. I don't play when it comes to support. So what we're consuming online, just like when you go to a scary movie and you're yelling, at the screen, what we're ingesting is affecting us and is making a whole lot of deposits into our subconscious. So I invite you to be picky with your food and what you're listening to. Just think of it as like, what do you want? What do you want to see more of? And we're going to talk some more about visualization and in the cocoon and in some upcoming videos. All right, y'all, create a great day. Like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you, if you don't have a chance to hook up with me, if you don't get onto the schedule, to get your hands on whole living foods in the hood with menus to fit your budget. That's my guide with pictures, what I've been doing with my family for years. Whole, fresh, living foods as a lifestyle. This is not a diet. We could care less what label you want to put on it. Hey, uniquely beautiful, sending some warm, positive vibrations. So catch this on the replay, and just want to give you an idea because I know people ask me all the time what I eat, and also keep in mind I don't need a recipe book. And so when you come and when you spend time, whether should you decide to travel, or if you work with me virtually, if you do a virtual retreat online, the way that you will learn is through, just like I sat down next to Grandma Lee, you come and you relax and you spend time. You spend time, you relax when you're preparing your food. This is like a love offering to yourself. Come and relax. That is how you will learn. I got so much of sitting next to my grandmother, my Grandma Lou, and my mentors, and just the different women that I have gotten so many gems that I'm still getting benefit from. So you come, relax, play, have fun. You learn through doing. That way it is yours. It is yours. It is yours. And you have something to pass on to the next generation. See y'all soon.